In a video I did a long time ago, and also honestly I even forgot I mentioned that, there was an excerpt where I was speaking about people not having issues necessarily, but them specifically being the issue. And I was asked what exactly I meant through that. See, one has to comprehend the fact that your whole life is unfortunately guided by a lot of people's unconscious behaviors. And that includes the idea of living in a sick society, which means that you will be programmed to believe certain noxious things, unwanted things, and things that will pull you down ever since you are quite young. It is the unfortunate situation of a lot of children, but life goes on irrespective of what pains you suffer from. So the point is that in many people's life, maybe your family was very loving, but you're still suffering as if your family was absent. Yes, there are many situations, and I see a lot of people talking on the internet about mommy issues, daddy issues, and this and that, but they never seem to mention anything specifically about those. See, what I mean through the fact that you don't have issues, you are the issues, is that you see, you have to comprehend this as far more personal and deep layered than you may think. That is why I tell people in many situations your healing will not involve psychology and or psychiatry. Surely knowing about some behavioral patterns, aspects and the such may actually help. But if I am to tell you something important, it's that the issues that you may be suffering from can stem specifically from this lifetime where, your parents have been mistreating you or forgetting to give you the attention that you need, or can be information that you simply acquired from your parents. Yes, genetics. Many people say genetics is all about transmitting your own information, yes, to allow the, let's say, the birth of the next generation. Now, people have to understand this is a very deep thing because nowadays you see so many bozos talking to you about energy here, energy there, everything is energy. Yes, indeed, everything is energy, but that is simply irrelevant because afterwards you will see all those same bozos or even more of them classifying energy as if it actually falls into categories. So you have your own life energy and that's it. There is no such thing as sexual energy or mind energy or whatever way you're classifying it. It is just an obsession of the mind to classify things because only in classifications do these stupid people think that they are powerful enough or that they are knowledgeable enough. Yes, because they can tell you all those juicy terms and this and that, and in the end, they don't mean anything, right? So energy is just energy. But what makes it different is the information that it abides to. Because information is also multi-layered. That is why you have energy that aligns itself in so many ways, shapes, or form. If you have the courage to watch yourself naked and see the remarkable architecture that your physical body has, well, in the end, isn't your whole skin and everything regarding your physical body, isn't it just energy? Yes? But how everything stays in place, how everything functions, how every organ functions, how each and every system in your body functions, and not only that, how the relation in between those functions. Yes, each relation of those, how they function. Well, isn't that truly remarkable in the end? One has to observe this, especially if you're feeling low on esteem and, well, most likely you've been mentally poisoned, and your soul probably was also poisoned by all sorts of these negativistic beliefs that everything about you would be wrong. Yes? So, the point about this is all that information has multiple layers in your existence. Yes? Well, some call it karma. Obviously, karma is also a certain thing. Well, it's technically the information or how a certain culture looks at that information and calls it and, well, classifies it in its own way. But the point about karma is that we all have the karma of our parents and our grandparents and as such. Obviously, these bozos who can't understand anything and don't know shit, they will disregard them, but they will disregard this information. But at the same time, they will tell you that you carry the information, the genetic information of your 6, 7 generations before you. Yes? So, what is that information? Well, it is the same thing as karma, I'm telling you, but well, feel free to discard it and think whatever way you want. Science isn't necessarily the true absolute that can be known. Yes, science can also be wrong, especially when new pieces of technology come and they prove that, previous understanding was either obsolete or turned obsolete or was simply irrelevant and, was used just like that so that it acts as a filler until the truth is actually revealed with, far better means, far better methodology, I mean, and well, better working parameters or, well, obviously better technology. Yes? So when it comes to you being the actual issue, is that you have acquired and you own in your physical body the issues of the previous generations. Each and every generation in a sick society that we live in obviously has been passed through at least one very traumatizing event because only by preserving traumas, right, and forcing trauma response systems within the physical body can a sick society keep its deviance in check. Because people, the more sick they become deviants of their own race. Yes, they become like mutants. They no longer function the way they should. And, well, the more sickness proliferates, people will simply embrace madness as if it is the only truth that there can be, right? Because there's no responsibility in madness. Yes, in, well, most layers of madness, let's put it so. So you're carrying all the aspects of the last 6, 7 generations, but those 6, 7 generations also bear the aspects, the mispleasantries, the misaccomplishments, the guilt, the shame of all the hundreds of generations before them. Because whatever each generation fails to transcend, fails to solve and deal with during its own time, it will send it and it will put it on the shoulders of their infants. Yes? That's why a lot of people may have lived a very awesome life. They may have had an awesome family, but they're still struggling and suffering because of loneliness, as if their family had been absent, like in the case of other people. Yes? These issues, they are part of your system. You have to comprehend this. These issues, they are not some mental mumbo jumbo. They're not necessarily some psychological programming. These are as part of you as is any bit and every atom and molecule of your body. Yes? You carry those because, well, when people mate, the point is the entire information of their body is placed one against the other. And what decides the physical body's appearance, shape, whatever, and well, lifespan, and so many others, is in the end the genetic information that is combined by the parents and, well, more specifically, the dominant genes that, or the genes that prove dominant in that clash, right? In that genetic clash. So the point is, that is what happens at a DNA level. But you have to comprehend your physical body has a lot of memory. It remembers so many things. If you are sensitive enough, you can feel the pains of your ancestors. You don't need to become a historian. If you are sensitive enough, you can feel those right in your own body. Actually, you're basically suffering from those. Yes? You have so many people in the world craving mummies, daddies, whatever they want on the internet, and maybe they have been raised in loving families, but still they felt as if they were the black goat, the black sheep, whatever you call it in English. Maybe they still felt like the elephant in the room, right? Even if they were given everything, they were probably even spoiled, probably too spoiled for their own good sake. But in the end, that information will simply draw you back. That is why you see so many youth being so happy, so carefree. And then when they reach 30, 40 years of age, they start functioning more and more like their parents, right? Or specifically one of their parents, or specifically one of their grandparents, because that is the ancestral information that is taking hold of them. Why this happens is because people give up their uniqueness, people give up their purity, people give up their childishness, people give up their inner child and their emotions because of the constant pain bombardment that a sick society, well, excels at, right? Because once you give up on those, you become like a droid, like a robot, and the unconscious mind will lay claim upon you. In the unconsciousness, in ignorance, obviously all the impulses, compulsions, all the bad behaviors, the insecurities, everything bad specifically about your ancestors will simply find a way to manifest through you. Mainly, you can use that as an option to make peace with those, because that is what those so called issues are. Yes, those are not necessarily issues. Those are just energies that people have stupidly invested too much, and they're just boiling in what I call the grand consciousness of humanity. Or, well, the entire set of traumas and drama and misaccomplishments, mishappiness, and all these things that happen to all of us as humans. That is what I call the general karmic memory. That is why the reason why the next generations are more capable of understanding things. Yes? Even when you look at corporatism, the first generations that experienced that were very happy, right? But their own pains, their children have it, even if their parents lie to them that working at a corporation is the future, is the best thing that can happen to you. Each and every new generation that went through that trauma, through that abandonment, through that ritualistically being shit on each and every day, they have that. And they passed that from generation to generation. That is why the newer generations don't want to work much anymore. Not because they're lazy, but because they're sensitive to the pains of their ancestors. Yes? Children of a certain age can remember even previous lifetimes, but that genetic information is deleted. Well, not from them, but from their, let's say, awareness. It happens automatically by nature because nature wants you to experience this current life. Yes? Just like cycles in life, they seem to overlap. It's not now you're happy, then you're sad, right? They have a certain overlapping, right? Even with ignorance, once you transcend something, you transcend a challenge in your life, you become more aware, you become wiser. But still, the challenges that you had before, you're still gonna struggle. You're still gonna have the insecurities you had before. Yes? So hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated, take care, enjoy life. This being said, Ferenc Power signing out.